Why am I fit and unhappy? So these questions, I've really thought about them because I see this all the time. There are a lot of people, especially in London, jogging around, um, and it doesn't really make you much happier. You get a tiny bit of a dopamine rush, that chemical, that happiness chemical again, but it's very short term. It's like there's two ways in which you get a dopamine rush. There's a short term consumerism type, okay, and a bit through exercise. Exercise is good as well, but the long-term stuff comes from meaning. But let me just go through this summary of what I think the answer is. Happiness is a way of looking at your life. So people can go through really bad times, but they can still be really happy. So one person could be going. There could be, sorry, two people going through the same situation, and one person looks at it and they are happy about it, and one person looks at that same situation and are miserable about it. So happiness is a way of looking at your life. So it starts in the mind. Health extremists, I describe, okay, become miserable because they obsess more on themselves than others. That's me trying to really summarize what it is that's causing the problem of being fit yet unhappy, which is incredibly common. You will see top athletes, I think the fastest, or the swimmer who got the most gold medals ever, Michael Phelps, was depressed, right? Never mind being super successful and incredibly fit. So definitely being fit does not really make you happy. It's important, but kind of a bit, and there are so many other elements to it. So happiness is a way of looking at life. So it starts from in your mind. So it's not really in your body, it's up here. It does not mean, though, this is the second bit, people go to extremes. Okay, I'll say something like it's in your mind, it's not in your body, therefore they forget their body. Or they'll say, "Oh, I disagree because I definitely feel happy through my body," and then I'm going to go to the other extreme and forget about all the other elements in my life, like your relationship and the way you approach life, and is there any meaning to your life? They forget about that and they go all the way to the other side and they just focus on themselves. Okay, so this thing about, and the reason why we go to these extremes, well, partly of the reason why we go to the extreme of um, focusing entirely on fitness is because of this kind of side effect of materialism. So materialism actually makes you really stupid. It makes you think in really obvious terms, like if I buy this, then I'll be happy. But it stops you from thinking deeply about your life, or even questioning how you're feeling really. Okay, so they'll just keep building, abs or muscles and things like that, and improving what's on the outside so that they can show off to people. So materialism is always about showing off. And so you don't want to go to that extreme. That's not going to make you happy. What you need to do, like I keep saying, is finding meaning in your life. So meaning in your life, that probably sounds a bit complicated. That's why I've gone for this other thing, which is people who focus too much on how their bodies look, they are becoming individualists. And what you need to do to be happy is to serve other people. So when I do this show, it's not because I feel I need to do this show. I feel good about this show, even if very few people watch this show, because if I think one or two people are benefiting from these truths that very few people seem to be aware of, then that's fantastic. So I might get like 5 views, 10 views or something on the show, and people might think, why don't you just give up or something? And it's like, no, well, those 5 people are really important. And if it changes their life even a little bit, not completely, and they take a slightly better direction in their life, that will have a massive effect. If you like, let's say you're playing golf. I don't play golf, but I can imagine this. Okay. And, if you change your direction a little bit, when the ball goes a long way, you can see the overall effect is massive. So if you make a small change in your life, and hopefully this show has that effect some way, and you keep following that small change overall in the wider, the whole span of your life, it will have a massive effect. I hope, I really hope for you. So, happiness is a way of looking at your life. So, it starts off in your mind, not so much in your body. Try to focus on your feelings. Those are the key things. And don't go to the extreme of like either ignoring your body. So, this is another really important thing. So, I do focus on a lot of healthy things. Like, I'm fasting at the moment. I think fasting is incredibly good for you, mind, body, and soul. Just for example, when you're not consuming all the time, then you, instead of focusing on consuming, and consuming, by what I mean by consuming is like eating chocolates and things like that and taking in sugars. Why do we take those kinds of food in? Is because we're trying to fill a gap in our life. So when you don't do that, you focus more on spirituality when you're fasting, or you think more deeply, and you don't depend on the lower form of dopamine high, which is the consumerism kind of dopamine high. So you could do check out these facts that I'm talking about dopamine and how you get it. I learn a lot from Jordan Peterson, so probably YouTube Jordan Peterson dopamine, how the two forms of how you get high and get happy, as it were. So rather than depending too much on the dopamine high of consumerism, you have to then, therefore, because you're not consuming, by consuming food and sugary food and caffeine and chocolate and all that kind of stuff, you end up having to focus more on the dopamine high of achieving great things in your life, and that's the stuff that's lasting. You can imagine that, isn't it? Like, you got to imagine your life was either full of just consuming and eating and whatever and getting stuff, or I don't know, you're an Elon Musk and you just achieve amazing things. When you look back at your life, you'll probably be happier that you did something amazing rather than just ate loads of stuff, or played loads of computer games. I'm not sure if that would be such an amazing life. Um, so, yep. What else? So, anyway, reminder, do feel free to comment, disagree, and whatever you want. If not, just enjoy the show. Hope you're learning something. Um, so, what else can I add to this? Because I think this is something that so many people are suffering from. So, why do people? So, a lot of people do. Not, I would say, grow up. So a lot of people stay stuck on this idea of their physical appearance. This is something, when you're young, this is something you might feel that you value, because you're growing up and your body's changing and you're thinking, yes, I wish I had. I remember a lot of my students, they say they want a beard or something, right? That's one of their goals in life. So some of my younger students or teenage students, they want to look like men and they want to have muscles and things like that. And that's what you tend to focus on when you don't have much else. So when you're like more accomplished, say, you can't imagine, let's say, Elon Musk, who's really smart and making rockets and things, he would go like, oh, check me out, check my muscles out. Like, that's one of his lesser achievements, and people wouldn't be too impressed by that either. Like, say, look at my abs, they'll be like, okay, I don't care. I'm more impressed by the rockets you're sending off to Mars or something, or you're saving the environment by creating these electric cars and things, and all sorts of other amazing things. So sometimes and often people get stuck on the fitness side of things because they're not developing themselves. Um, and you will find people who focus on just their physical health, although it is important to keep that. As I say, I do focus on my physical health as well, do bits of exercise, go for walks and things like that. That's a tiny part of it. And if you focus just on the physical, you're not really developing to your full potential, because it's only a limited dimension. Yeah, your mind takes you to whole huge and other levels and dimensions of experience, amazing experiences. Anyway,